Call the Honourable Minister.
Mr Chair, the 1989 Sale of Liquor Act attempted to introduce a European cafe-style drinking culture in New Zealand, and I'd have to say that all the evidence shows that for some this has not worked. Although I'd also acknowledge that although alcohol misuse contributes to crime, particularly domestic violence, disorder and public health problems, and roughly a third of all recorded crime involves offenders who have been drinking. For most New Zealanders who drink alcohol, they do not abuse alcohol. And so this bill attempts to strike a balance between dealing with the abuse of alcohol and sending some very strong signals, and at the same time not penalising those New Zealanders, those many New Zealanders in the vast majority who do not abuse alcohol. The object of the bill is to minimise the harm caused by the excessive drinking. Although, as I've said, many New Zealanders don't abuse alcohol, there are sometimes times in their lives, particularly when they're young and they're learning to behave with alcohol, that they might in fact indulge in excessive drinking. We obviously don't want to see that, and we'd obviously like to have it stop. But actually it's always been with us. It was before we had alcohol laws. It's with us now. It will always be, but that doesn't mean to say that we can't take some actions to help prevent that occurring as much as it does. We should also acknowledge that alcohol has social and commercial benefits. New Zealand's alcohol industry employs over 70,000 people and contributes to our GDP. So the government is proposing a balanced response to deal with the considerable harm that is caused by the abuse of alcohol without unfairly affecting responsible drinkers. The government SOP inserts two definitions relating to age to give effect to the House's resolution to retain 18 years as the purchase age. I was one of those people who voted against the age of 18 for the purchase age, primarily because I think it is abused most often by people aged about 16 and people aged 18 who buy alcohol for their younger friends. That was defeated, and I accept, obviously, the will of the House. The technical government SOP deletes the definitions of beer, grape wine, fruit and vegetable wine and mead proposed by Supplementary Order Paper number 132. The wording in Supplementary Order Paper 132 has given rise to doubts of the applicability of the New Zealand Food Standard. The proposed amendment is accordingly withdrawn to make it clear that alcoholic products sold in supermarkets and grocery shops must meet the relevant New Zealand food standards. I'll just deal with one issue which the member who's resumed her seats raised, and that's the issue around the hospitality industry, which she says has said that the bill doesn't go far enough. The hospitality industry has said it doesn't go far enough because they support minimum pricing. That's actually really around making sure that there are maximum profits for the alcohol industry, frankly. And I note that there's a very recent report that I've just been had, and I'm happy to table if anyone wants me to, which is that minimum pricing, which has been loudly supported by that member in Scotland, has apparently brought in Scotland, has actually now been put on hold. And in fact, I think one of the things we need to deal with is that this bill actually can't deal with the hypotheticals, it has to deal with the realities. It's not the only bill we'll ever have on alcohol reform, but it is actually a start. It is the first time that I think in living memory where we've introduced a bill to get through Parliament which actually puts more restrictions on the sale of alcohol, not fewer.
I call the Honourable Member Dennis O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I rise on behalf of New Zealand.